Hello everybody, so in today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you guys how to make realistic rocks like these. As you can see, they have actual textures instead of like cuts. Well, these are cuts, but it looks like it has an actual texture. And yeah guys, let's begin with the tutorial. It's pretty simple. And this rock could basically be used in two ways, as you can see. I can use it as a ground rock on the top, or I can flip it and use it as a floor rock for a rock base. And yeah, let's begin. Let's begin with how to make it. So it's pretty easy. I'm just gonna reload this. Alright, so what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to go into the modes, go into the scope mode, go into the hexagon, press L1 and triangle to go into stamp mode, and L1 and square to go into blend mode. So we're gonna bring the blend amount all the way up, bring the hard blend all the way up, and what we're gonna do now is we're going to choose a gray or whatever rock color you're gonna do, and we're just gonna do this. Okay, so we're gonna do this. And there you go. So we just made a rock. Literally that simple. We just made a rock. Super fast and easy. Low poly basically. This is a low poly rock basically. And yeah, that's basically how we make rocks. Now, the way to actually texture the rock is pretty simple. So let's make this rock a rock that can be used in two different ways. So we're going to go to the cube and just use the subtract mode and then just cut the top. You can also use the blend mode and blend that down, and then you'll have that weird little bumpy area on the top of the rock. Also, that's only if you have hard blend on. As you can see now, it looks like something else. So make sure you have hard blend on if that's what you want, as you can see. And yeah, so I'm gonna leave that like that because that's something that I like, having that little bumpy area on the top. Then you could also flip the rock, and you can use this rock as a different rock basically, as you can see. So now we have a little plate, and we can use the rock in two different ways. Basically a module. Alright. So that's just how to make rocks. So that's a low poly rock I just made right now, as you guys could see. The shine gives it that little shading that it has. If I add the roughness, it'll remove that little shade that it has. And yeah. So that's how to make the rock. Now, how to texture the rock. It's fairly simple. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to go into the smear shape, go into the surface snap, and there's actually two ways of texturing the rock. So one way, which is super tedious and time consuming, is go into the smear objects tool, turn on the hole, have the spear on, and then just do this all over the rock. So that's one way to texture it. I love this way of texturing, but it is very time consuming. And yeah, when you're doing this method, what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna go into the color palette and choose the one that changes colors. So now you'll have those different colors on the rocks, as you can see. So I'm just showing you guys an example. And yeah, I don't like this texture method very much because it shows those cuts, as you can see. Now the other texturing method, the one that I do like, does not show those cuts. So what we're gonna do is go into the smear mode. Same thing basically. When it's big, we're gonna go in, bring the hole up, and we're gonna shrink this. Alright. This basically makes the spear very thin and you can't see the cuts. And that's what I love about this texturing method. So we're gonna just bring this up. Bring this up. Maybe a little bit more. And there we go. And now this is how you texture it. You basically would just go in, spin your finger on the touchpad, and then just do this. Alright, so that's one way. Now as you can see, I get these little cuts and I don't like that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the lines even thinner. So I'm gonna shrink this circle again, and I'm just gonna do the same thing. Alright, and now this, I'm just gonna do the same exact thing I just did. Make this bigger, do this again, and now what this does is this makes the line thinner, and you can't see that texture that it was doing. So now if I go like this, you won't see those cuts that you saw. As you could see, it looks like an actual texture. And yeah, you could also use paint for this, but it won't give you the same effect. But yeah, so let's just start texturing this basically. So just make your circle really big and just make sure you get all the areas. There we go. And make sure you don't have that repetition going on. So what you could do is just shrink it and then go into different areas and just go over those areas. It's just to avoid repetition, you know. Yeah guys, so now we basically have textured our rock. As you can see, very nice texture, and it looks like it's actually on it. You can bring the shininess up. I recommend that when you do the texture, you go over here and you bring this dark to the darker areas to show the texture more, as you can see. And now you could also go in here, go to this, bring the looseness up, and just mess with that. That's up to you guys. I highly don't like this because it does this fuzzy stuff, making the rock look fake. So I usually would just either do it a little bit, as you can see how the texture comes out after you do that. So I would just do it a little tiny bit, maybe about 13 to 10. Or if you want the sharp rock, just bring that to 0. Now I would leave it at here because it gives me that little dark spot, you know. And what I usually do is I bring the ruffle up. You can't really see it, but when you get close, you have that little randomness in the texture that you're adding. So I usually use the dots. And there we go. So now we have a really nice realistic rock with a really nice texture. Now we can make it look like it's a rock in the rain. And yeah guys, so that's how you make realistic rocks. And I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And yeah guys, I'll see you guys later. Please make sure to request more tutorials in the comment section. And yeah guys, have a great day.